Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, the suspect in a deadly shooting at the University of Virginia is in custody. What we know about the incident coming up. And the Senate is decided, but the balance of power in the House of Representatives is still unsettled.
Plus, a few more showers on the way into the region for tonight and tomorrow. Tracking the latest on the way as Mountain News at 5:30 starts now.
Dedicated to Southern and Eastern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 5:30.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. The manhunt is over for the University of Virginia student who is suspected of killing 3 members of the school's football team. 2 other students were injured in last night's attack, including one critically. CBS's Deborah Alfarone has the latest from Charlottesville.
A tow truck removed the bus where the deadly shooting happened on the University of Virginia campus Sunday night. Earlier, school officials and police were in the middle of a news conference when word came that the suspected gunman had been apprehended.
Just need a moment to thank God. Breathe a sigh of relief.
Police identified the suspect as UVA student Christopher Darnell Jones Jr. University officials say he played on the football team in 2018, his freshman year.
He was no longer on the football team and hadn't been on the team for over a year.
Police say he gunned down fellow students as they returned from a field trip to see a play in Washington, D.C. Football players Deshaun Perry, Devin Chandler, and Lavelle Davis Jr. were killed.
This is an extraordinarily difficult day for our community, and we need to comfort and support each other and those closest to the victims.
Police say the UVA threat assessment team was aware of the suspect because of a comment he allegedly made in September about having a gun. There was also a separate alleged hazing incident, but witnesses didn't cooperate at the time. While the manhunt went on for more than 12 hours, students were told to shelter in place.
We both slept in the library underneath a desk.
I don't think it's fully hit me yet, what happened.
Police have not released a possible motive. Deborah Alfarone, CBS News, Charlottesville, Virginia.
The suspect has been initially charged with 3 counts of second-degree murder and 3 counts of using a firearm in commission of a felony.
Clouds continue to work into the region this evening as we watch another weather system bring the potential for showers back to the mountains as we head a little bit later on tonight and into the day tomorrow. A look outside from Slade along the Mountain Parkway where the road work is still underway. You see in the distance, we can see a little bit of that sunset out there, at least the reds from it, as those clouds work in. 44 the current temperature at this moment. Downtown Whitesburg, not as many clouds, but the sun is behind the mountain there this evening and obviously will continue to set as we are now several minutes past the sunset hour. Low to mid 40s throughout the region with a few upper 40s still hanging on, but we will continue to drop those temperatures into the 30s as we head into tonight. A couple of showers already trying to work their way toward the Lake Cumberland area. However, I do think many of those are not reaching the ground, but we take a little wider view and you'll see we got a big-time mess headed our way. At least it's a big-time mess over the Arklatex region and into the Ozarks, southern Mississippi River Valley. That'll be heading in our direction. Not quite as messy, but will stay rather showery. And some of those showers could start as a wintry mix late tonight. I don't think it's a huge deal for the roadways, but still something to watch as those temperatures drop into the low to middle 30s. Details coming up on when we could see a return to some sunshine and even colder high temperatures. That's in a few minutes. Steve?
Right, Evan, thank you. The balance of power in the House of Representatives is still up for grabs as some of the most contested races have yet to be determined. But for those who have won, it's already time to get to work. CBS's Nicole D'Antonio has more from Capitol Hill.
House Republicans are discussing who they want to be their leader in the next Congress ahead of a vote Tuesday.
I'm fully in support of Kevin McCarthy as Speaker. I think he's done a great job as a Republican leader, and I believe he has earned the support.
House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy could face a challenge for his leadership from some right-wing members of the party. There's a movement to delay Tuesday's vote until control of the chamber is determined. Right now, CBS News projects the House as leans Republican, but Democrats still have a path to keep the majority.
Whatever the number, whatever the control looks like. It's going to be very close, and there's going to be a lot of opportunity for bipartisan legislation.
Democrats won't hold leadership votes until the end of the month. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says she doesn't know yet if she'll run again, but she has support.
The Bulls would still love to have Michael Jordan. I'd still love to have Nancy Pelosi, for sure.
Senate Republicans will hold their leadership vote on Wednesday, but there isn't much of a question of who will win since no one is challenging Mitch McConnell.
The great wrestling champion Ric Flair used to say, to be the man, you got to beat the man. And so far, no one's had the nerve to step forward and challenge Senator McConnell.
There's still one Senate seat left to be decided, with incumbent Democrat Raphael Warnock looking to hold off Republican Herschel Walker in Georgia's December 6th runoff. Nicole D'Antonio, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Senate Democrats are scheduled to vote on their leadership December 1st. Supreme Court Chief Justice John Roberts put a hold on the release of former President Donald Trump's tax returns. Trump filed a request with the Supreme Court on Monday asking for it to do just that. Last week, a federal appeals court cleared the way for the returns to be disclosed to the House Ways and Means Committee. That was supposed to go into effect Thursday. The hold will give Supreme Court justices a chance to decide if they will review the ruling by the lower court. The U.S. Supreme Court gave the go-ahead for the January 6th committee to access phone and text records of the Arizona Republican Party chair. Kelly Ward served as a fake elector for Donald Trump in that state. Arizona was one of the states the former president lost, but had Republican efforts underway to offer a pro-Trump slate of electors. Ward argued the subpoena was too intrusive and violated her First Amendment rights. Justices denied Ward's request to freeze the subpoena and lifted the temporary order put in place by Justice Elena Kagan. The House Select Committee's subpoena directs T-Mobile to release call records from Ward's phone. The battle over presidential records at Mar-a-Lago continues. Former President Trump claims 15 documents that were kept there, including clemency requests, are his personal property and shouldn't be handed back to the federal government. That's the latest from a filing with the Department of Justice. A special master is reviewing Trump's claims of executive privilege over the roughly 22,000 documents which were taken from his Florida home in August. Trump's team and the Justice Department will continue to work through everything over the coming month, with the special master set to make determinations by mid-December. Landmark talks today between two of the world's most powerful leaders. President Biden met China's president ahead of this week's G20 summit in Indonesia. CBS's Tina Kraus has more.
It will take more than a handshake for President Biden and China's Xi Jinping to get past their differences, but both agreed to try as they met face-to-face for the first time since Mr. Biden took office nearly 2 years ago.
We're going to compete vigorously, but I'm not looking for conflict. I'm looking to manage this competition responsibly.
The leaders of the world's two largest economies talked for 3 hours on the eve of the G20 summit in Bali, Indonesia.
We discussed Russia's aggression against Ukraine, reaffirmed our shared belief in the threat or the use of nuclear weapons is totally unacceptable.
But China and the U.S. are at odds over trade, technology, Chinese spying, human rights, and China's growing aggression toward Taiwan.
I do not think there's any imminent attempt on the part of China to invade Taiwan.
But China's leader told President Biden the Taiwan issue is a red line that must not be crossed.
Our one China policy has not changed, We oppose unilateral change in the status quo by either side, and we're committed to maintaining the peace and stability in the Taiwan Straits.
While overseas, President Biden didn't miss a chance to run a victory lap after the Democrats' success in the midterms.
There was an emphatic statement that in America, the will of the people prevails.
President Biden says he knows allies around the world are watching American politics and declared no nation is better positioned to help build a successful future than the United States. Tina Kraus, CBS News, London.
President Biden will return to Washington later this week after a 7-day round-the-world trip. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky hailed the Russian withdrawal from Kherson as the beginning of the end of the war today. The retaking of Kherson is one of Ukraine's biggest successes so far during the nearly 9-month invasion. Zelensky walked the streets of this town today, just hours after warning in his nightly video address of booby traps and mines left behind in the city by the Russians before their retreat. He has previously appeared unexpectedly in other frontline zones at crucial junctures of the war to support troops and congratulate them.
This is the beginning of the end of the war. Of course, you see our strong army. We are step by step coming to our country, to all the temporary occupied territories, and of course it's a pity, but it's a long way, difficult way, because this war took the best heroes of our country.
After the Russian retreat, Ukrainian authorities say they are finding evidence of torture and other atrocities. The end of Russia's 8-month occupation of Kherson City has sparked days of celebration, but also exposed a humanitarian emergency with residents living without power and water and a shortage of food and medicine. Russia still controls about 70% of the wider Kherson region. Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, jumping into investing can seem overwhelming for newcomers. 5 steps you should consider before putting your money to work.
Plus, showers on the way into the region. A look at how much rain we could see and how cold it gets behind them. That's ahead.
WYMT News app offers alerts on breaking stories as they happen, customized to the